Hey guys, so today I'm here to do my third trimester update. So obviously at this point we have already revealed our son's nursery for those of you all that follow us on our main channel at Sean and Sierra. But that's why my background looks a bit different. But we were super excited about that. If you haven't seen that video, you can definitely head on over there and check it out. But anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into my third trimester update and let you guys know kind of how things were for me and how it went. Alright, so first things first, you guys, and you may notice it even as I'm doing this video. So the third trimester is when you've gotten to a point where you're just like, you're almost there, like just a few more weeks until the baby's gonna come. So it's like a point of time where I usually become the most uncomfortable, like I run out of breath a little bit easier. The waddle is in full effect at that point. So, you know, just sounding a little breathy if I try to talk too much at one time or things like that. Just overall general discomfort. Usually I still don't have the nausea at this point. The worst part of the discomfort comes at night when it's bedtime. So usually it's like a little bit harder to get comfortable for bed. I have to get in the perfect position. By the third trimester, you are no longer supposed to be sleeping on your back because it becomes dangerous. So, you know, I have to sleep on either my left side or my right side. And getting accustomed to sleeping only on your side is like, okay, that's the next big thing because you already have to get accustomed to not sleeping on your belly. So that's one big change that happens during the third trimester, and it's always a little bit of an adjustment, just getting back into that kind of swing of things. And like I said, the discomfort at night, it doesn't just come with the positioning. Usually I might have a little discomfort because of the way that things are going and the way that the anatomy is changing up. Usually I have a little bit of shortness of breath if I end up in the wrong position too long, or if I like slide down in the bed a little bit further than I intended to, things like that. So I did notice that I kind of have like a little more shortness of breath here and there. Nothing that's like alarming, but just enough where you're like, okay, let me sit up, catch my breath, you know, make sure that I'm fully oxygenating the way that I should be. Alright, so something else that comes through super huge in the third trimester for me is the increased urination. Y'all, I feel like I'm always using the bathroom. Like, if I'm going to be going out somewhere, it's literally like to the point where I try not to drink too much of anything because I don't want to have to be like running around trying to find a bathroom everywhere I am. But that's just another thing because of the way that the baby starts like sitting on your bladder. You know, it makes you have to use the bathroom a lot. So I definitely try to stay close to a restroom, especially as I get into the winding down weeks where I am now. It won't be much longer until we have the baby here. So I definitely try to stay, you know, keep myself comfortable. Try not to be somewhere where I'm going to like not be able to get to a restroom, where I'm not going to be able to, you know, get comfortable if I need to stretch out or anything like that. So I did notice that I was like a little more off balance this time. And when I say that, I mean like if I'm walking somewhere or going to do something, I might kind of like, you know, lose my balance a tiny bit. Nothing alarming, but to the point where it's just like, oh, like, you know, the equilibrium is off. It was like that with my daughter, but it's been a little bit worse with my son, and I have to wonder if it may be because of how low my belly sits. Just because, you know, I'm walking and he's like literally hanging right here. So it makes it even more so. I feel like I'm heavier in the front, and I think that's another reason why I've had more lower back aches. The lower back aches were still like very prominent in the third trimester. As a matter of fact, I want to say, yeah, they've been the worst this trimester. I do find that it helps if I just like get them massaged, you know, like my lower back, just get it rubbed nice and good. And then try not to sleep. I try to put like a pillow under there so that when I'm sleeping, it's not digging into my mattress. That seems to make it worse. If I have like a little something under my tailbone and like around my hip area, it seems to feel a lot better when I get up the next morning, and it's not as painful. So I did have to make some adjustments in that area where I, you know, got pillows here, put pillows there to just kind of keep myself more comfortable and have less pain. Speaking of carrying my son low and in the front, I also feel more weight in my abdomen when I'm walking around. And I notice that I can't really sit up straight for like too long of periods. I don't know if that's because it causes him discomfort and he doesn't like it or what, but if I'm sitting up like straight like this for too long, he starts kicking, and like it's obvious to me, like as his mom, that he wants me to change my position. So I might have to like lean back a little bit more. Like for instance, this position I'm in now, I will only be able to sit like this for so long. So whenever I'm riding in the car, I have to be like a little bit reclined, get a little bit of the pressure off, because I don't want baby boy to be uncomfortable. And it also becomes uncomfortable for me as well when he gets uncomfortable. So there's definitely been a lot more fatigue. I get tired really easily. Especially going like towards the end of the third trimester, it's like right back to where that initial fatigue was. You know, little simple tasks, things like that take a lot of energy from me. I have to try and get a nap in whenever I can. I love trying to make sure I get at least 30 minutes to an hour of a nap a day. I find that helps me to feel a little less tired, but some days I'll just wake up and I'm like, it's a lower energy day. That's what I'll say. Like, this is a lower energy day. So that's how I kind of tell myself, you know, like, it's okay. You are literally growing an entire tiny human, and sometimes you feel bad because you're like, oh my God, I can tell from how this day is going that it's not going to be like very productive. But I always try not to beat myself up too bad, because I'm like, at the end of the day, this is what I'm doing. It's very important for me to get my rest. It's very important for me to take it easy and be careful. So yeah, definitely have had like a lot of days mixed in there where like you wake up and it's just like, I'm tired already. So that's another big thing that has happened in this third trimester. I will say that with my boy pregnancy, because I'm pregnant with a little boy right now, for those of you that don't know, with my boy pregnancy, the fatigue has been a lot worse than it was with my daughter. And I will say that's been pretty constant throughout. With my baby girl, I was like tired, but I wasn't like exhausted like I have been with my son. So I would say that's one of the biggest differences I've noticed in carrying the both of them. Obviously, in the third trimester, you start to have increased doctor's appointments. So I've gotten to a point where I'm going to the doctor literally every single week. And so it's just like one of those things where they're checking the baby, they're making sure, you know, your fluid levels are good, they're making sure the baby's gaining the right amount of weight, they're making sure that nothing's, you know, going on that shouldn't be going on, and all of those important little things that matter as you kind of start to wind up things. Those are the things that they focus on at the appointment, still getting measurements, checking the heart rate. And of course, you know, another big thing that happens in the third trimester is that they do the little GBS swab to make sure that you don't have like, you know, a need to get antibiotics during delivery or anything like that, and that's just to protect your baby. I've never had to get that, but I do know that, you know, some women do, some women don't. It just depends on the woman and your situation. It's also been a time of preparation for me. I've done so much nesting, and I think I've shared some of those nesting videos with you guys here. I may have another video or so to share with you guys, but I've spent this time like kind of making sure things are all good and ready for the baby. I like to make sure everything's clean and washed, and I like to make sure his room is all set. I like to make sure I've gotten things situated with my daughter so that, you know, when it's time to go into the hospital, she's all squared away and everything. And it's just, like I said, it's been a season of like preparation and preparing and like making sure that things that need to be washed have been washed, things that need to be boiled have been boiled, anything that needs to be sanitized has been sanitized. I have noticed that my breasts are starting to get sore again, and I think that they're preparing for baby boy. So I do plan on breastfeeding again, and like I said, I can already feel that they're probably starting to start the milk production process. So I look forward to, again, you know, sharing with you guys how my breastfeeding journey goes the second time around, and just, you know, seeing how baby boy does in comparison to my daughter. Those are pretty much some of the big things in the third trimester. Like I said, the fun stuff that happens in the third trimester. Got all my maternity photos, did my milk bath. If you haven't seen that, you can check that out on my main channel at Shawn and Sierra. But got my milk bath done and my maternity photos on the beach. Just, you know, enjoying all of that, getting these memories so that we have them to keep. Getting ready for the baby all together, like preparation, nesting, cleaning, washing, just getting things all situated. Having the weekly doctor's appointments where you go all the time. They're literally monitoring you all the time to make sure everything's safe and, you know, everything's going to go as planned. You start like registering with the hospital and planning out, you know, what you're going to take and packing your hospital bags, and all that fun stuff happens. The increased fatigue and the discomfort with sleeping, all that is still there. The increased urination is still there. Those are just things that I'm kind of dealing with as we wrap up the pregnancy and get ready to welcome baby boy. I would say usually kick counts are very important in this trimester, but I think I've mentioned before, I actually don't have to do kick counts with my son because he's literally constantly kicking me all the time. But you definitely want to make sure that like you don't notice any decrease in movement or anything like that. Like he's kicking me right now. I don't know how much of this you guys can see. But yeah, you just want to make sure that your baby is still like moving as they should. There should still be a nice amount of movement. So I always make sure I pay attention to that because I do know that it's very important. And then like I said, yeah, just trying to keep my balance, trying to be careful, trying not to overdo it, trying to make sure that, you know, I still understand like what my body is going through, getting ready for breastfeeding again, you know, all these different changes that are about to start happening again. So yeah, that's pretty much my third trimester update. I just wanted to come and let you guys know, tell you how everything went. Now you've officially seen my first, second, and third trimester updates. I've enjoyed seeing the ways that they compared and contrasted with one another. Me being pregnant with a girl my first time around and now pregnant with a little boy my second time around. Definitely been interesting to say the least. But yeah, I always have like a little postpartum party. So I'll come back and party with you guys and, you know, tell you how my baby's doing, and we'll just chit chat and talk and hang out a bit. So until then, I'll see you guys next time.